Yo, what's up? I'm KallaTheYapper, and I'm back with another reaction. Today, I'm gonna react to a DJ King video, actually. Right? This is gonna be the first time reacting to DJ King's videos. Shout out to DJ King. But I want to react to Glakeel's mental meltdown over what DJ King had to say. So I've skipped it up to when the conversation started, and then I'm just gonna roll it from there all the way to the end. Because I gotta see this, and I got my own input I want to give. So this is a reaction of a reaction within a reaction. This is some fourth wall shit. Four mirrors. It's crazy. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's turn that volume on.
Really well for ESL person, so it shouldn't be an issue. And we'll go over the situation because I don't know the full details of this, so I am gonna go into it in one go. I do believe it was lore intensive, like
Bro, he said verbatim. I'm just gonna assume you watch my video. He somehow says, like right here, he somehow says that the story is rushed, but the story is around 8 hours long. So I don't know how they implement rush and 8 hours in one go. There is a whole segment in my video talking about exactly that.
Yeah, but the thing is, y'all don't explain what that is. You claim the story was rushed, but at the same time, claim that it was too long, or that it was long, or you mention and state the fact that the quest is long. It's like 8 hours long, 8, 9, 10 hours long. How can something be rushed while also being long at the same time? The logic just doesn't make sense.
There is a whole thing in the beginning of the video. I covered that exact topic. If you don't believe me, let's just assume you didn't watch, right? Let's just request and how that time was actually used.
So he's saying that I didn't watch, right? So how can I be talking about the exact same thing that he is talking about in the video and I didn't watch your video clip yet? Doesn't that make sense?
This might sound like a small thing to you. Okay, without wasting any more of your time, let's just get right. Do I sound good? I think I sound good. Sorry, into it.
Look, he only touched on it for a brief moment, actually. You know what? I'm gonna do the due diligence. Let's go to that Glakeeel video again. Even though I don't want to go back to this fucking video again. But I got to for the sake of this. Let's go back to what he said at the rush
I cannot
thing.
believe that yet again I was wrong.
Let's go up for about this whole thing being rushed.
I mean, this is the story that was
They said so cool. What was the point?
and so I was surprised. I was wrong.
Again, it is so retarded that he takes that woman's line about the story seriously, completely ignoring what the fuck happened and what the fuck the roles of the shades are, and this, that, and the third. We dived so deep into the lore of this game, and they fleshed out so much shit. For her to even say that was so fucking retarded. We're not gonna rewatch this whole video, but I want to get back to the point about this whole rush thing. About the whole wasting time. Hold on, let's see.
Sit through a story. I don't think I need to tell you that. Yeah, but it is actually important. Let's just get right into it. It all started with the length of the story quest and how that time was actually used. This might sound like a small thing to you, but it is actually important because it gives you a lot of context about the situation. 8 hours is a long time to sit through a story. I don't think I need to tell you that. Yet, if you look at most of the complaints about it online, the word everyone keeps using to describe it is rushed. Brother, that is a story quest that takes as much time as a day job. You could be getting money instead of playing this story quest. So how can it be rushed? Well, the logic from the community is actually pretty simple.
Again, he claims community when it's just a small few people. That's not the community.
The length of the story quest does not equal the quality of the quest. So really it just comes down to how the writer spent those 8 hours. And let's just say it is not that good. For the first hour, everyone was locked in because the stakes were ridiculously high immediately. You had Kalle having these intense, ominous dreams, Nahida slipping into a coma, and the entire nation scrambling to organize evacuations. They threw in help from APAP, and out of nowhere, Pantalone shows up to make things even more tense. Side notes, but why does this guy have Recreator as his Fatui introduction instead of Pantalone? No.
And again, someone else mentioned in my comment section that granted, I mentioned how dumb this shit was that he would even complain about that. Complaining that a Fatui Harbinger is using their Fatui name. But on top of that, the real name of this harbinger, Pantalone, is his Pantalone not even his real name. His real name is Phaethon. That's his real name. Like, it's the same thing with Child. Child's real name is not Tartaglia, nor is it Child. His real name is Ajax, right? These characters got multiple names. They got their name and they got multiple titles they go by. And also, yes, I know that I mispronounced La Senora as El Senora. Maybe because, she took a big fat L. But anyway, and also I said her name was the Fairy Lady, or one of her titles was the Fairy Lady, but her title is actually the Fair Lady. So I wanted to, make amends on that part that I mentioned in my reaction that was 4 hours long. My fault, y'all.
Nobody knows, but who cares? He looks pretty and gay. And that is a W in my books.
What are you, fucking gay?
So everyone was sitting.
I'm not going to mention again why I had the reaction that I had when he said that. Because everyone knows, and their mama knows, like, bro, we live in the era now of people claiming characters are gay just for the sake of it. To try to make the character their character, when it's like, bro, if the author did not say this character is gay, queer, or whatever, I mean, the character is not that. Do not enforce your headcanon on characters. We've seen this too many times in the Genshin community when people have headcanoned characters' sexuality onto them or projected their sexuality onto said characters, only to be upset when characters were not that. AKA, y'all remember that whole thing between Yai Miko and Ayato? People had an issue with it because how dare they put Yai Miko, who's quote unquote gay, with Ayato? How dare they make a straight ship? Remember that? So that's my thought process when he said that shit. Anyway.
Sitting there thinking this was going to be the most insane, high-pressure quest the game had ever put out. But immediately after that intense setup, would it surprise you if I said that the common consensus about the quest is that, for the next few hours, the tension completely vanished and everyone got bored out of their minds? Why is
everyone, he claims, got bored? The few people who show on Twitter got bored.
That, Glaive? How could that possibly happen? The game sticks you into a brutal loop of just dialogue, and then
and you see what I'm saying? They're saying just dialogue, but they're not explaining what exactly was said that was quote unquote wasting time, that killed the tension. Because everything we were doing was a part of the rising action before we got to the climax. aka setting up the Dari system, making sure they'll be able to transfer the information from Irminsul into the Dari system so it can be the new pseudo Irminsul for essentially the remainder of time moving forward in the future and this, that, and the third. Right? Aka setup. Anyway, let's get back to this.
It all started with the length of the story quest and how that time was actually used. This might sound like a small thing to you, but it is actually important because it gives you a lot of...
And what's even crazier, though, is that they're complaining about, oh, it was dialogue. They don't even go in depth to explain what exactly the dialogue was said. They're talking as if we had conversations that steered away entirely from us setting up the Aru system and anything akin to the situation related to Irminsul. That's how they're framing it. They're framing it like, oh, well, we were setting up the system for Aru, and then suddenly we take a nosedive turn to the left, and then we have a whole 30-minute part to an hour-long segment of characters just like having fun, playing games with each other and whatnot while we're in the midst of setting up the Aru system, which, by the way, does not happen at all. That's how they frame it, though. That's what's so misleading about his video.
A lot of context about the situation. 8 hours is a long time. 8 hours. This is 7 hours, but most of the people who are reacting to the story plays like 8 hours. I can prove you this immediately.
Why are you not talking about? This is a constant tactic of like just not talking about the actual issue and talking about something else.
616 reaction. Holy shit. Story. Oh, there's multiple parts as well.
There's multiple. How does he not know that there's multiple parts? There's part 1 and part 2.
Acts 9 and 10. The fact that he even needed to search that up tells me everything, right? So that even proves further that he didn't know what he was talking about when he made his video talking about something. Oh, this hours on end of a fucking playthrough, completely ignoring the fact that Act 9 and 10, they're their own separate acts. Act 9, it connects directly into Act 10, but Act 9 was when we were evacuating the city, while we were checking on shit, making sure the people of Sumeru were safe, while simultaneously dealing with the fact of the new introduction to the new Fatui member that has arrived, which is Pantalone, and interacting with him, meeting up with Jet, meeting up with old friends and whatnot, linking up because of the disaster that's going on in Sumeru, so on and so forth. Act 9 was absolute setup. It gave us the hook, and we followed along with the plot. Act 10 was continuing the setup, rising action, climax, the falling action, the rising action, the falling action, and then conclusion, epilogue. That's all what Act 10 was, honestly. Act 9 is pure setup.
Did he not play the story, Glaive? Bro, he didn't play the story.
What the fuck? 10 hours in a single video. Who is this guy? God damn.
Who is this guy? One of the biggest lore heads in the Genshin community that fucking loves the lore of this game. By the way, Murderer Birds was a hardcore Ruby fan. So hardcore, in fact, that Murderer Birds live reaction of him reacting to what was it? Volumes 1, 2, and 3 of Ruby was being watched by the creators of Ruby. Not so much Monty because Monty had passed away before that happened. But Kruby, that worked on the show, was reacting to his live reactions back when he didn't have a lot of facial hair. You could tell that man was looked like he was fresh out of college, or probably fresh out of high school when he used to do the old Ruby reactions. It was crazy. He looked like a whole different nigga, honestly. But yeah, the fact that he used those one-off Twitter niggas as to represent the Genshin community and completely ignore these people here on YouTube is fucking crazy.
This is also 8 hours, right? So I'm just putting it out there. I'm not making shit up. Actual shit, 8 hours.
I never complained that it's not long. I just don't grasp the concept of how is a story rushed at the same time it's 8 hours long. It doesn't really make any sense. Rush would be 2 hours or 4 hours.
Exactly. Which we know that's not how long Genshin's Acts 9 and 10 were. Act 9 was about 3 hours long. Act 10 was about 7. Niggas were telling me, yo, bro, this is a long haul. At first, I thought it was going to be 4 hours. Them niggas was like, nah, it's going to be 7. By the time I ended my playthrough, it was about 7 hours. And I started streaming around 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. I did not go to bed until 5 o'clock in the morning. Because after I did my playthrough, I immediately did a reaction to this cornball Glaive Keo's video. And spent damn near 4 hours dismantling and disproving every point he brought up. And especially these Twitter head niggas he painted as the Genshin community. Dismantled that whole shit. Took forever. We didn't go to bed until 5 o'clock in the morning.
What?
I'm trying to sit through a story. I don't think I need to tell you that. Yeah, if you look at most of the complaints about it online, the word everyone keeps using to describe it is rushed. Brother, that is a story quest. And if you watch for a few minutes after that, you would know that basically I said the whole story, for 7 hours, that shit was a yap fest. I'm not saying full out useless yap fest.
Brother, when you say yap fest, yap fest has been coined as a negative, or it has a negative connotation to it when you say yap fest in relation to a story. So everyone, when you say that shit, everyone takes that as, oh, this is bad. Oh, they spent all this time just yip yap talking about useless shit. Yip yap that had nothing to do with the main plot. Yip yap. That's how you framed it as, blatantly. And when you say yap fest, that even further cements that point of view to the viewer watching the video. For him to sit here and act like he does not know that is blatant retardation.
There is definitely dialogue bloats, but I'm not saying there's...
Such as what dialogue bloat? Explain. Prove it.
These are all useless, right?
That's exactly how you frame it when you literally say it's a yap fest. If that was not your intention, guess what, my guy? You would have actually done your due diligence in your video to not frame it as such, to even mention that, but you didn't.
But that ending, where we fight against Dottore, was literally a small segment of that 8 hours. So it's obvious that people are calling it rushed.
Having a boss fight not last long in the midst of a long, lengthy story quest is by far the most retarded shit ever. Do we have to pull up how long the boss fight with let's say, let's pull this up, because it's always good to do your due diligence for things of this nature. It's always good to do your due diligence. Jobs near me. Excuse that. Let's search up and see how long was the boss fight with Aleph 1. Let's do this. Withering Waves 3.3. Oh, wait a minute. 3.3 boss fight. There was technically 2 boss fights in version 3.3. It was the Dinia one and the one with Aleph 1. Look at this, a month ago. You see how long that playthrough is? That's 9 minutes. But let's see. This shows the cutscene for it, before leading up to the boss fight. Then this is the boss fight here, and then cutscene, boss fight, cutscene, and this is the ending conversation. So realistically, this boss fight doesn't even last that long. It is about 9 minutes. But the only reason these videos are this long is because they're showing the animated cutscenes and the story stuff along with the boss fight. So it makes it seem longer than what it actually is. But that boss fight, oh, even here, look at that, 10 minutes and 42 seconds. Again, not long of a boss fight. 10 minutes worth of a boss fight. That's not very long. Let's go to, I'm gonna go to Art Knights. Wuling boss fight. Let's see. The boss fight against Netherith, about 6 minutes long, and it was great. By the way, this story was awesome. I fucking loved the Wuling story. The Wuling story is by far the best story. Look at this boss fight right here, with back in version 1.1, right, with Big Bro, right, 6 minutes long. You see what I'm saying? This boss fight in JP Dub. This boss fight, about 11 minutes long. Not that far away from 10 minutes long. Only by like 1 minute and some change, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, complaining that the boss fight happened at a relatively quick pace, when that's how most boss fights are in these gacha games, is stupid. You can get through a phase 1 and phase 2 of a boss fight if your characters are built decently, and if the game gives you characters and gives you mechanics that allow for you to beat the boss faster. You don't play a story quest to have a lengthy boss fight. That's not the point of you playing a story quest for. That's the point of in-game content, so you can have a longer boss fight, so you can fight something at a longer time than just, let's say, 10 minutes. That's the whole point of those type of things. The only type of video games I expect lengthy boss fights from are like games like Elden Ring. I expect lengthy boss fights because those bosses and the way they hit, you gotta time your dodge properly. You gotta do XYZ thing. You see what I'm saying? It's a death sentence walking into a battlefield. When it comes down to those type of boss fights, let's do boss fight. Let's see how long the boss fight for Zenless Zone 0 2.8 was. About 10 minutes as well. Yeah, about 10 minutes flat. Like, Like, what are we complaining about? About a boss fight being quick in a major story quest? Seriously, it's by far the most retarded thing you can complain about, especially in a gacha game.
Rushed.
So, wait. I understand. Like, the story will feel like a yap fest if you don't have prior knowledge on the lore itself. So I completely understand that.
True. And someone even mentioned in my comment section, which I also mentioned in my playthrough, which is, the guiding notes is a nice feature because there are things that happens in the Archon quest that you may not understand if you didn't do a handful of world quests related to Sumeru, nor if you have done any of the limited time events that tied to Sumeru in some way, shape, or form. Right, and that latter end with the limited time events, that's more on the fault of the devs than the players. And I blatantly mentioned that in my playthrough of Act 10. And not just Act 10, but of Acts 9 and 10. I blatantly mentioned that, right? So I don't really blame players for that, for not understanding that knowledge. But knowing that they gave the guiding notes feature to the player so that any player who does not remember something, or they forgot something, or this is first time information to them that they did not know about prior because they never, engaged with any of the side content, it helps them understand what's going on, who these characters are, and what their relationships are, and what they're talking about, right? It helps them with that. But most people, especially these CCs like KallaTheYapper, they don't play any of the other side content. They only play the main story content and play through that and then make a bullshit critique video. Or they talk about the meta of the game or about the game, quote unquote, not improving itself when there are blatant examples of Genshin Impact improving itself over the years. There's blatantly examples. You'd have to be a liar to sit there and say that, oh, it hasn't improved at all, which many people have lied about blatantly. But anyway, let's continue.
In the story, we meet a lot of people coming from the past, which was world quests and story quests and event quests. So if you're not invested in any of that, you might see it as like a yap fest because you don't really care about that. So I understand what KallaTheYapper is coming from. He didn't really do those stories, so he doesn't understand what's going on. So therefore, it is a yap fest.
This guy didn't watch my video. How are you still confused of me explaining? Like, I don't know how they implement Russian 8 hours in one go. Like, I explained it blatantly in my video in the first 2 minutes. Right? He rushed my video. Oh. Yeah, he rushed my video. Yeah, bro. And then, next.
It was packed with lore. Maybe that's what they're talking about, and their brains couldn't really process it as.
Oh, our brains couldn't process the lore, guys.
Yeah, I think KallaTheYapper's brains could have processed the lore. I think he needs an update on that area of his. KallaTheYapper need an update. His AI is outdated.
Our brains couldn't process the lore. Yeah, that is the reason. For sure.
Because I see a lot of people making a lot of mistakes. And
a lot of mistakes. Okay, what is it?
A few of them.
All right.
The first big mistake they made is this.
Right.
And we're going to go into it and showcase what it is.
A trash quest. The content creators follow suits.
God, man. And also,
All right.
the shade said so.
Urban Souls is birds.
Wait.
So she's upset that, Urban Souls is birds. So the Shades should do something about this. This is why I pay attention to lore. If somebody
This is why you pay attention to the lore.
hasn't paid attention to lore, they would have not known that the heavenly principles did not make Irminsul. Irminsul was before the heavenly principles come down. They inherited Irminsul. So no, nothing happened because they didn't make Irminsul.
Brother, are you listening? Sean, are you listening? Are you listening?
Why is bro crashing out?
What type of crash out response is that? That's how you know you got that nigga KallaTheYapper fucking retarded as shit. This boy's like, oh, are you listening? Like, bro, yeah, we are, and your response is retarded. You haven't even said anything yet. Worth a damn or worth the salt. Like, huh? Nigga literally just sat there and explained. Which, by the way, I did not know. I'm pretty sure DJK is I'm pretty sure he is black. I'm pretty sure he is. Which I was kind of shocked by, I think, when I found out in one of his videos that he posted like a while ago. I was like, you're black? I was like, bro, you got this heavy accent on you. I thought you was like Latin American. But that's just me personally. He can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below. But like, yeah, like what type of response is that? He's so happy to jump on the gun to try to prove that he's right that he's not listening to anything what DJ King just said.
Oh my god, bro, he's crashing out. I think you need to contact Saint and ask for some colors because I think you're crashing out.
The reason nothing happened is because there is lore reasons.
Yes, retard. I can't, like, bro, it is so hilarious how niggas try to use that as an argument to be like, oh, see, that's how I'm right in this conversation while you're wrong. Because nothing happened because of lore reasons. Yeah, lore matters to your story, to your world building. Lore is the very thing, the lore and the logic that comes with it is the very thing that makes the story connect. So when things happen in the story, you don't question it because you know the answers to it. For example, we know that Irminsul recorded information. We know what happens if you delete information out of Irminsul. People will forget, aka when Nahida erased Ruka Devata because Ruka Devata was tainted with forbidden knowledge, aka abyssal energy or whatever the fuck, right? She was tainted with it. After she deleted Ruka Devata, what happened? Everyone in the world, or everyone in Sumeru rather, forgot who Ruka Devata was. Granted, it is questionable if someone like Zhang Li may have forgotten who Ruka Devata is, because he has a weird dialogue about her, I think. I don't know because I don't have his character, but I do remember people talking about it or mentioning it before a while back, right? But you get the point, right? The same thing goes with this. Lore matters when it comes down to dragon authority, because guess what? The dragon's authorities, the elemental authority of the dragons exists within the Gnosis. Guess what? Nouvelet got his back after the destruction of the Hydro Throne. Right? Which even allows for someone to be the new Hydro Archon, or to ascend to become the new Hydro Archon. Or just any other Archon, elemental Archon in general, right? With the destruction of that throne, guess what? There's now no longer any more Hydro Archons. There will never be another Hydro Archon because that throne has been destroyed. The Hydro Dragon has gotten back his authority, and guess what he was able to do with his dragon authority? On some high-level creation power shit, he was able to give the people of Fontaine, who were not real humans, he was able to give them real human blood. He was able to restructure their biology to a molecular level that he was able to make them into real humans, so that they wouldn't be dissolved in the primordial sea and experience the death of the self, right? That lore matters. And back to the Fontaine thing, right? It was important lore to learn about what the fuck primordial seawater was, because we didn't know what primordial seawater was. We wouldn't understand how is it that the people of Fontaine are dissolving thanks to the primordial seawater, right? What relation do the people of Fontaine have to primordial seawater? We wouldn't learn the relationship between that if the story didn't bother, letting us discover that as we progress forward, trying to find out what is the truth behind the missing woman's case, right? And all that shit. Even finding out the truth about the fact that Egeria, the first Hydro Archon, literally the primordial sea water in the blood vessels of her hydro familiars, which allow for them to take human form. And it's the same primordial sea water that destroyed their human forms and reverted them back into their original forms, right? Being hydro oceanids, right? That was like the whole point of that. If they did not have the lore dive deep and connect to each other, then shit that happens in the story does not make sense at all. Because it'll be like, oh, well, they said this, but then the lore does not connect to that, nor does it make sense. How did we get from point A to point B? That's why lore is important. That's why making the logic between X thing is important, or having it connect is important, so that you don't question what happens. But people like Glaive Keel will sit here and be like, oh, well, that's a bad argument for why nothing happened. No, it's a blatant good argument, because that's what the story is telling us. Like, what type of retarded ass logic and response is that?
There are lore reasons. Nothing happened because there's lore. Lore. I died.
Oh my god, bro.
Jijen King, this is not you. This could not be what you stand for. Yeah, there are lore reasons.
Second thing that I saw in this video is that they're wondering, Irminsul is burned, so how is nothing happening to Nahida? Why is Nahida not affected by this?
Yes, right. Why is Nahida not affected by this?
This is because people don't pay attention to the lore.
Because there's lore reasons.
You see how this guy looked like a clown? This is why I made that first part in the video. You know what? The funny thing is, he skipped it. He didn't play it. How convenient. He didn't play the first part of it. How convenient. How convenient, Glaive Kiev. This video right here, sorry, there's an ad on it right now. But as he saw, the very first part of it was the answer. And what happened? He conveniently skipped it. He conveniently skipped the same quest that showcased exactly what I'm talking about. Conveniently. And now he say lower reason. This is why I don't want the skip button in the game. Because content creators like this, and it would have spawned a whole new breed of content creators like this that will misrepresent the situation actively. So we know for a fact that it's not that he doesn't know, he is actively avoiding anything that proves him wrong. Because he literally just skipped out that part of my video. The part that I put at the very beginning. The part that explained everything. The part that debunked every single one of his claims. Absolutely beautiful.
I can't.
In this very same Archon quest, it was stated that the Aru, the other system that was created by King Deshret, works primarily the same as Irminsul. So they moved all of the data from Irminsul to Aru, including Nahida. This is why she's not affected by it. Then they...
Bro, there is no consequences. The literal data bank of Tevats being burned. There's nothing happening. Oh, there are lore reasons. Nahida, who grew from that data bank, the data bank, he didn't get affected. Why? Because there's lore reasons. And you know what?
Look how dishonest this shit is, bro. And you wonder why I made a 4-hour-long reaction debunking every damn thing he said out of his fucking mouth. Because it's just blatant misinformation and lying about what the actual information was. When she literally states in that, conversation that Nahida was having with the Wanderer and then one of the sages, along with the Traveler in Paimon, she literally states out of her mouth that Nicole, an angel, a being whose powers and abilities surpass any of that of the Archons, by the way, was able to separate her from Irminsul and reattach her to the Aru system. Like, do we see the nonsense? And he wants the people to take him seriously as if everything he says is true and factual and cannot be pushed against. But then immediately he'll just go down the route of being like, oh, well, if you disagree with me, you're just a shill. Or if you disagree with me, you're just incorrect. Or I'm not going to even bother listening to anything you have to say, right? That's essentially how this nigga moves.
But maybe there are. But my points, my video, I specifically said that I never asked for a magical explanation from you, right? Or from the devs. How she survived. How Nahida survived. I never asked for an explanation.
Yes, you did. When you sit here and wonder why there was no consequences or some negative effect to Nahida as a character after destroying, burning the tree itself, not the data, but the tree that is Irminsul, you are asking for a in-universe lore explanation to explain why. But in the same quest, they literally explain it near the epilogue of the entire chapter. To sit here and act like that's not what you were doing is retarded, nigga. You blatantly were doing that. That's blatantly what you're asking for when you sit here and wonder why she didn't have any negative effects towards her. Stupid. Like, what type of nonsense? This is blatantly being retarded on purpose.
Explanation. Because the game already did a lot of that, right? 8 hours? Oh, you've explained enough, okay? You have explained enough. I get it. I criticized the narrative consequences, right? And I need y'all to lock in here. I criticized the narrative consequences.
Narrative consequences? Explain to me what narrative consequences. I mean, for somebody that used to have their script developed by AI, surely I don't think you're in any position to criticize or talk about what is proper narrative design.
Literally born from that tree. But the complete destruction had zero lasting, emotional, or any impact on her.
Again, this is where he's wrong again. He made that same argument in his video and I disproved it. He sits here and claims that Nahida has an emotional attachment to that tree. Nahida never once, ever, not even in the Sumeru Archon quest, nor in her own 2-character story quest, did she ever express an emotional attachment to Irminsul. Ever. especially on some, oh no, I'm crying because Irminsul was destroyed. No, her emotional attachment to Irminsul has been business related entirely, ensuring that the damn thing does not get destroyed, and that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Her emotional attachment was to Ruka the Vada, and she cried over having to exterminate her. Well, exterminate her data out of Irminsul. She cried over it. That's what's so dishonest about Glaive Kia. He's sitting here claiming that she has an emotional attachment to Irminsul, then doesn't even go forth to prove it. He just says, oh, trust me, bro, that's what it is. Despite the fact anybody with 2 brain cells who's bothered to go rewatch those story quests, or even do the due diligence to just go look at the cutscene of Nahida crying related to, Ruka Devada, you know that she doesn't have an emotional attachment to the tree. She knows she was born from the tree, but her emotional attachment is not to the tree itself.
You know what?
Emotional effect. Oh my god, my god. Wait, should we had a funeral for Irminsul? Is that what you're saying? Should we be moaning and weeping, say, "Oh my God, Irminsul is dead"?
She did after her the tree she grew from got burned. Immediately shrugged it off to talk about dinner, to talk about tomatoes. What the fuck? Like,
I understand, Glaive, that you have never been in any intense situation, or don't even watch movies or stuff like that. There's this thing called like bringing the temperature down, shifting the topic from an intense situation. Like they just went through that intense situation that you said was not intense because you didn't feel the cutscenes and animations as impactful as you expected it. So, bro, they're just like bringing down the situation, shifting the topic, and talking about something else to like shift from the intense moment. But like you somehow didn't see that. Like with your infinite knowledge of like writing, I should believe that you would have noticed that. Like, what's going on here?
how are you going to defend that? How are you going to defend that? So you're saying tomatoes and dinner? Like, okay, there is just got burned, but like, okay, so what are we going to?
But what do you think is worse? Do you think this is worse, or do you think like bringing Chizia's ending story in Wuthering Waves as optional worse? Because like I would really love to know that.
Let's not even talk about that. The fact that we had side niggas in Genshin's own story, NPC niggas in Genshin Impact's recent new Archon quest have a better ending and neatly tied up a conclusion to their stories in comparison to what the fuck we got from Chiza speaks volumes about how a game actually cares about its story versus a game that just cares about aura farming. Wuwa can never, nigga. Anyway.
For dinner, not surely not more tomatoes. Like,
It was so crazy. He's over here bitching about, oh, why didn't Nahida have an emotional reaction to the tree, which I already disproved already. But he's sitting here also acting like, yo, why didn't she talk about like the effects that this is going to have in the future related to, Irminsul being destroyed? Which, guess what? She already talked about it in the same set of dialogue as the tomato thing. Granted, she talked about it before the tomato thing. She literally states out of her mouth, even though it's only one sentence, it's enough for someone to grasp and understand what she means. Which, I guess your boy shall do his due diligence to show what exactly I'm talking about. So let me go back to my playthrough so I can show this off to y'all. I just got done streaming Helldivers for about 2 hours with my homies. So let me click back here again. It was somewhere around here after we defeated him. Yes, let the Squabble Fest commence. Pause. Where were we? Somewhere around here. Somewhere around here.
Courses. Everything else can wait. Anyway, that's enough chit-chat. There are still things in the city I need to help out with. I'll be heading there now.
Things he like life he got going on, his bucket list. Because he got his get back on the Tory. He was able to put that nigga down in the dirt, you know, personally. So, yeah. Now let's see how this combo goes.
I'm so happy that Hat Guy is doing better than we thought. But what about you, Nahida? How are you holding up?
Alright. That part Glaive Nag's about to come up. Remember to keep that one cutscene where they did that data extraction in mind. I can't stress that enough. The data extraction scene was it the scene where Nahida zoomed through that data beam to get inside Irminsul to help the squad or to help the 2-man mission, so it could become from 2-man to 3-man mission? That scene? Unless he shows that scene in his video. Because then, yeah, absolutely, I can fucking slap that shit to the floor. Whatever bullshit argument he's going to make for that. But let's proceed. Let me keep myself locked in for this moment.
The pyronosis burned down the corrupted Irminsul. The flames blazed for 7 days and 7 nights before they finally subsided. All that was left were the parts underground. Now, Aru shoulders the responsibilities that once belonged to Irminsul. The situation was contained before it got out of hand, so Tevat's most vital information has largely been preserved.
Okay then, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to worry about then. Because that was the whole setup of the pyramid thing. It's become the new Irminsul, and any lingering pieces of Irminsul is just connecting back to the fucking Aru shit. Literally, what does she even have to worry about? We don't have to worry about nothing. The Heavenly Principles don't have to worry about it. The Shades don't gotta worry about it. There ain't nobody gotta worry about it. The only consequence was we had to get rid of the tree. It's just the loss of something from the old world. That's the only real consequence here.
Irminsul has a strong influence over you, doesn't it? How will you cope now that it's gone?
There is no need to worry. Thanks to Nicole's extraordinary talents, my connection to Irminsul has been severed and transposed onto Aru.
Okay, she's doing dandy. She's doing well.
Angels can do things like that? They can. Such abilities are precisely what makes them so powerful. The goddess of flowers, Nabu Malikata, once claimed that she too could perform feats beyond the reach of mere mortals.
And this too, gives us more insight into what angels can and cannot do. Granted, this is a more of a can situation, telling us what angels are able to do. They have superior power sets compared to that of the Archons or any of the other lower gods, because they are literally above them, just pure off baseline. Because they were created by the primordial humans. So them primordial humans made sure that they were stuffed with all types of cool shit.
In my eyes, much of what she went on to achieve reached such transcendent levels. Her and Nicole really are both fascinating and magnificent.
So, does that mean your situation is stable now?
Correct. Just imagine that Aru has become the new Irminsul, and the essence of my existence has been bound to it. The wisdom of Sumeru has ultimately converged into a single, unified entity. Should we ascribe this all to fate, or is it merely fortune? Whatever it is, the important thing is that you're okay, Nahida.
Dendro Archon, Lesser Lord Kusanali. Oh, thank goodness you're here. Greetings, Traveler and Paimon.
Oh, let me read it, because someone said something very interesting. Also, we went from a world network tree to a private network server. Now that's an interesting way to look at it.
Sir Nevis, do you have something urgent to say?
Yes, there's something I need to report. We've received a message from Snezhnaya.
Who blowing up our phone right now? Who calling?
The Fatui
Sorry
Harbinger,
that
the rooster.
sorry that the scene hasn't gone to the point that I'm trying to show. But like bullshit. Let
Following the
me see.
being to lost one of their own. On to say that even so, Nezhnaya cannot claim ordinance accountable.
Interesting, because you would think will bullshit of that's what this could be, right? This could be just a guise in front of us. Just the
In supplies, production. Sounds like he's got
It's diplomatic tight.
found impact on Sumeru, or it can be seen as settled for now. Snezhnaya would do well. With Irminsul burned, the flow of fate now carries many more possibilities. I will be watching carefully.
boom. Here's the line. Literally, we learned of the consequences of destroying Irminsul, but we also know the effect, the long-lasting effect that's going to have moving forward into the future. The fact that Homeboy could not grasp this is crazy work.
Or are you gonna say there are lore reasons for tomato as well? I have that. Okay, like, okay, bro. All right, okay, okay. Like, you can't just invalidate my opinion on the execution of the quest.
Yes, you can, especially when you, dumbass, did not even understand what Homeboy Demon King was even saying, nor did you understand the fucking shit that happened in the story. For you even question and ask why did she not have an emotional reaction to the fucking tree when we know the answer to that? And why didn't they talk about the effects of the loss of the tree, which they did talk about as well? They did both of the things you sat here and claimed that they did not do in their story. You were blatantly proven wrong multiple times, but you refuse to accept that. Pride at its finest.
Quest because there are lore reasons.
Yeah, I can, because it was literally stated inside the same. It was literally stated inside the same Archon quest that you were criticizing. It's not even that far to find. Like, how do you not know this? If you come online and you say something that's blatantly false, and in that same Archon quest, which you very easily skipped for some reason, is shown in there exactly what I'm talking about, then how are you confused that, you know, it was literally stated inside the very same Archon quest? This is why I put it at the very beginning of the video, which you somehow conveniently skipped.
You just can't.
Explain me that.
What does that prove? That the game cannot execute a good story, and they just hide behind the excuse of lore?
This is so retarded. It's so blatantly retarded, and it's so blatantly disingenuous. Anyone with working brain cells know how disingenuous this is. Any person who's been keeping up with Genshin's lore, especially the lore theory crafters themselves, knows how blatantly disingenuous this nigga's take is. To sit and say, oh, well, they have to hide behind lore and not tell a good story. The story was good. It was told perfectly fine. Your dumb ass didn't pay attention to any of it, and you're upset that that a character isn't having an emotional reaction to something that they never had an emotional attachment to begin with, to something that they never had to begin with, and being shocked by that. Like, oh, why isn't she crying in tears over the loss of Irminsul when she never expressed any emotional attachment to Irminsul itself, as if like it's her fucking mother? Like, bruh, what are we talking about? And again, like I said earlier, a story's lore matters to the story so that when shit happens, it doesn't come out of nowhere. Prime example. Fire Force. If them niggas do not explain what human combustion is, or what an Adola burst is, and all that other shit related to it, how can you possibly understand how shit happens once we got into season 3? Right? How could you understand the concept of a doppelganger if they didn't bother explaining that back in what, season 2? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was season 2, the whole doppelganger shit, right? Such things, all that matters on lore being explained and being fleshed out so that when shit happens in the story, it does not come off as retarded. It does not come off as stupid. Again, Goku transforming into a Super Saiyan. That can't happen if they don't explore the lore of the Saiyans and what Saiyans are. You see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? It's great. I'm so stupid. I laugh at my own jokes.
Oh yeah, I fucked up here, but let me just make some shit up with lore.
The game didn't mess up. You messed up. It's you. It's not the game. It's you. You were the one that didn't do proper research. I don't know if you played the story, but how can you not play the story and not know? Or maybe you need to pay attention. Like, I understand ADHD is a thing. Like, you don't really can focus that way. So I completely understand how you missed that. But I have ADHD too, and somehow I didn't miss it.
Shoot, I don't even know if I have ADHD. I probably do. But even I'm not stupid enough to fucking ignore shit that was blatantly being said. Blatantly being explained. Because your boy paid attention and locked the fuck in. Damn it, I did a 7-hour stream banging out Act 10. Miss me with this bullshit. Own everything, nigga. You can miss me with that. I don't give benefit of the doubt to niggas claiming they have ADHD when they're giving takes like this. Sorry, I don't give that benefit of doubt to niggas like that. Especially when they use it as an excuse for, bad behavior or acting like pieces of shit towards people. Like, fuck you.
What's the difference here?
In the books, that'll show my community. Like, okay, well, but maybe you had your reasons, right? And it's like, well, the heavenly principles didn't create Imran Soul. They just inherited it, so nothing happened. Yeah. And that nothing happened thing is what I have a problem with, right? Like.
And that's insane. How do you expect, like, so much things to happen in one?
Before he even says it, bro, you're complaining that nothing happened when blatantly something did happen. The destruction of Irmin's Soul. But what you want, in particular, is the reaction from the heavenly principles. That's what you want. Just state that. You want the reaction from the heavenly principles in relation to the destruction of Irmin's Soul. Because everything, like I even mentioned in my reaction, everything that Fanes, the heavenly principles, has built ever since he took this world from the dragons has been falling apart ever since 500 years ago to where we are now. 500 years ago was the Conrian Cataclysm. Which, by the way, if the story didn't bother focusing on that, and the points in the story when it was appropriate to focus on it, right? Then we would not understand the mindset of the traveler's twin sibling, nor the Abyss Order, aka lore. So that anything happens with the Abyss Order, which guess what? They've been trying to create the Loom of Fate or bring back the homeland, which we knew they were trying to do for years on end. And then recently in version 5.7, guess what? They created the Loom of Fate and the Atlas so that they can recreate a new world, a little pocket world, so that Conria can exist once again. None of that shit would happen, nor work, or make sense if they didn't bother touching on it. Or better yet, giving us multiple examples of people across history, in Tevat's history, from the ancient Remurians to King Deshret to Narcissus courts in Fontaine, right? There's so many examples throughout Genshin Impact's world that they've given us lore about where they tried to create their own version of the Loom of Fate to break free from the heavenly principles fate weaving machine or predetermined fate. Even what happened in Inazuma in Raiden Shogun's second story quest, literally, one of the shades, aka Istaroth, the Shade of Time, helped Makoto, the twin sister of the Raiden Shogun. She helped her create the Sakura tree by planting it in, the seed will be brought from the future and planted in the past so that they could have their own ley line system that's not connected to Irmin's Soul, so that they could be free from the shackles of the heavenly principles. Did niggas forget that? Actually, let me show this. Let me do my due diligence. Not this. It's this one. Yeah. Let's go here. Genshin Impact. Raiden Shogun Second. Story. I'm typing, damn it. Let's do act. Let's act 2. Let's go to the cutscene that happened at the end.
Ad Astra Abyssosk. Recently, the Adventurers Guild has received an unusual commission, and after careful consideration, we believe that...
Around right here.
Hello, A. And greetings, those who have come to bear witness. I am Raiden Makoto, the previous Electro Archon, who failed in my duties and left you all to pick up the pieces. Makoto? I'm so happy. You've come so far. I always knew you would make it here in the end. I left a faint fragment of my will in Muso Ishin, so that in the moment that you unleashed its full power, I too would be released. A convoluted way to reach you, but... well, you held such deeply entrenched views at the time that you wouldn't have listened to a word I said. There was no time to wait for you to have a change of heart. Please forgive me. All I could do was find some way to wait until you came to me. But... you never mentioned this to me. Everything happened so suddenly. I'm sorry. I've always felt terrible for having to entrust Inazuma to you all of a sudden. I should have been the one to impart these ideas to you, a little at a time, to dissuade you from your pursuit of stillness. Did you know what was about to happen in Conria? I had some sense of it. That place was not somewhere that any Archon could afford to ignore. In my present form, I can no longer perceive time. I don't know how long we have been separated before this reunion, and I don't know what Inazuma has experienced in the meantime. But I know that this must have been an extremely arduous journey for you. And I'm sure you must have wanted to shed tears many times along the way. Don't look down on me. See? You admit it. It was with this possibility in mind that I left a parting gift for you. Something to soothe Inazuma's pain. Here, take it, before my last shred of consciousness fades away. But it is you who must take the most important step.
Turned into a seed?
The miracle tree that blesses the people, in this moment new to the world and yet to be known. When to plant it, where it shall bloom. She who brings it into being must let her heart and dreams decide. Grant it life, eh? Is it really? Eternity extends time into infinity. Dreams illuminate each moment within. When both shine in unison, the sacred Sakura blooms from the darkness, finally free from the clutches of the heavenly principles. Now the nightmare has dissipated, and reality is made whole. The vision we both yearn for is still further ahead. My only regret is that I cannot witness Inazuma's future. Nor can I walk this journey with you. Do you know, A? I am so happy right now, because my final wish has now come true. Your polearm once protected me from countless calamities. For this, I've always felt indebted to you. Though I could never repay you in full, this sacred Sakura will buy you some time until you are ready to awaken and embrace the new. What do you think? Did it do the trick? This time, it really is goodbye, eh? Goodbye, Makoto.
Boom. What more need to be said?
And that's insane. How do you expect like so much things to happen in one patch? I literally mentioned it in the video after, I believe, like this video. I don't remember which one this is. How are you gonna do this? How are you gonna have the Irminsul being burned down, and at the same time, the Heavenly Princess will come down, cast judgment, and then we have to remember this is a live service game. It's working in patches. We can leave a story at the set point and then come back at it a later time. We can't just resolve everything one patch. Like, if we do that, the game is finished. Like, how are we gonna resolve everything? Might as well we go and get our sister and get out of here as well. Like, bro, allow the story to tell itself. Like, do you guys ask for so much? But I think it's warification. Now that I'm thinking about it, because
it's absolutely warification, most definitely. Because war operates on this quick, fast pace. Here you go, here you go, have it type shit, where everything is done at a rapid pace, and the story does not bother giving itself as much time as it truly needed. For example, introducing concepts to us and whatever, they either throw it all at you in one go and don't give you enough time to breathe for it, or they'll throw it in immediately and then simultaneously they'll use it and then backtrack on how it originally worked after the first time they used said new concept that they brought in, aka and Galbrena. You know how the whole anchoring thing? How is it that anchoring worked one way when it came to but then they backtracked how it worked when it came to the Galbrena, right? They kind of reversed how it was supposed to work, whether it be intentionally or unintentionally, right? But they still did that shit. Genshin, on the other hand, doesn't do that. Genshin, on the other hand, lets concepts and shit that they've thought of, they let it brew, they let it simmer. They let you sit on it for a couple years, or probably a year or two before they come back and be like, all right, let's touch on it again. Bam, bam, boom. Which is why we have so many examples of different Loom of Fates being created across Genshin's entire world history timeline, right? And it makes all complete sense for how XYZ thing happened. It absolutely does.
Think about it. In War, the stories around the characters, they start, they finish in half a patch, and then the character get yeeted off into oblivion, and we never see them again. So he's expecting everything to be concluded about the character, and as we never see anything about it again. Genshin Impact storytelling is a little bit different. They utilize their old characters, and they're actually telling a full.
Genshin Impact plays the long game. They already had their story set for the long game for before the game even came out. They were already ready to go. They already knew what the deal was, what they wanted to do with their game. Wuthering Waves, on the other hand, had to rewrite its fucking beta story multiple different times because the CM player base didn't like it, and then of course non-CM player base also didn't like it as well. So even whatever concrete story they wanted to tell, it just feels like it comes off as them just like throwing shit to the wall to see if it clicks, to see if it makes sense, and then just running with it. Honestly.
Full story rather than just giving a side story for a character then just eating them off in the distance after they're finished with it. That's the difference between Wuthering Waves story and Genshin Impact story. Mind you, I am not up to date with the original like full version of the story of Wuthering Waves, but I don't know if it's changed or not, but that's
no, they're still doing the same shit. Even though there's some slight improvements here and there, they're still doing the same shit.
My experience of it.
I specifically criticized the writing for hand-waving a complete apocalypse, world-shifting events. What should have been a world-shifting event.
No. It was going to be a world-shifting event if they didn't do anything about it. But they stopped it. They didn't hand-wave it. They handled it. And kept moving forward with life because now, one, Celestia not going to come punish her, aka the Shades won't come punish her because she, again, Nikita enacted her a supreme authority in relation to Irminsul. The Doctor was a clear threat to both Irminsul and to the rest of Tevad. The Shades, and even the Heavenly Principles, absolutely agreed on her decision. Granted, more so the Shades did, because the Heavenly Principles can't speak right now. But the Shades, who are the servants to the Heavenly Principles, even if it's 3 out of the 4 of them, they agreed with her decision. They even asked her, are you sure this is what you want to do? And she was like, yeah, it needs to be done. And they were like, understood. Boom, got the job done. The only people who even know of Irminsul or truly understand what Irminsul is used for, only they are the people who honestly have more to say about it. But even then, the issue was resolved. And Nahida made a comment about it, being like fate has become more, has allowed for with the destruction of Irminsul, is allowed for more, freedom of possibilities in relation to fate. Because now the Irminsul tree, especially the top of the trunk of the tree in particular, no, not the trunk, but the branches of the tree in particular have kind of been burned away. The only thing left is the fucking roots of the tree. And now it's like anything can happen now. More possibilities can happen now. That's the consequence of destroying Irminsul. The consequence is allows for more freedom of possibility, which the Heavenly Principles clearly has an issue with, which is why they had a fate weaving system that predated people's fate and what would happen to them. But we don't even know the reason why the Heavenly Principles wanted such a system to exist in the first place. We still have yet to get an answer for the reason why. But more than likely, we'll get an answer to the reason why as we progress through the story.
Event. Burning the central database of reality and Tevat is treated.
They didn't burn the central database. The data in the base, aka, was transmitted to the Aru system, as Dean King said earlier. But Homeboy is too caught up in his feelings to try to prove himself to be right or prove that he is right in his criticism, which we all know is not. He's not. He's trying so hard that he's missed the explanation multiple times.
I was late to work because my coffee got served late. Like, that is the same amount, right? The weight of Irminsul burning is equal with tomatoes. Am I crazy?
No, they never compared it to tomatoes. Just because they shifted the conversation away from talking about Irminsul, which there was nothing much more they could say and add about Irminsul beyond that fact that the roots of Irminsul are still there, and the fact that now more possibilities can happen, and fate has become more freeform because of the burning of the tree. Not the roots of the tree, but the trunk of the tree moving upward, right? That's the only thing that can be said. There's nothing more that needs to be said. Nahida's one line is more than enough to speculate, okay, we have to see what happens moving forward now. Because again, Genshin's entire story, the theme of Genshin's entire story has been breaking free from the divine and, having the free will to live their own lives without being governed by heaven, essentially. That's kind of like the core theme of Genshin's story, which is why you have some of these gods rebelling against Celestia in some way, shape, or form. Even the Shades themselves are rebelling against Celestia. You want to know how we know this? Literally, in Raiden Shogun's second story quest, when we're talking with Yae Miko, the Shade of Time's name is mentioned. Hold up. Let me see if I can keep going back. About right here. Let's play this.
So the A of the present planted the sacred Sakura in the realm of consciousness, and it took root in the Inazuma of the past. No matter what you make of it, it's quite incredible. All of this is thanks to Makoto's power. Her understanding of eternity is much more profound than mine. Eternity is a concept intimately connected with time. When you begin to touch on eternity, the concept of time becomes murky.
A place where time is meaningless and cannot be understood with ordinary logic. So that was the turbulence I was sensing. Perhaps that is the reason why you were able to return precisely to this point in time without any problems. And yet, that sense of disorderliness has now completely disappeared.
I don't fully understand yet. But my intuition tells me that the reason for everything, it's that seed.
Well, I'm not convinced that it was Makoto's power alone.
I know what you mean. Perhaps Makoto got a higher power involved in all of this. But whatever the explanation, her solution is what saved us all.
Literally, this was the first time ever that one of the Shades' names was even mentioned. And mind you, Raiden Shogun didn't know the name. Yaimiko didn't know the name. The devs knew the name, and the devs gave the name to us, the players. And they dropped her name, Easteroth. And later, we found out even more that Easteroth had her hand to do with Inkanomina, the underground nation in Inazuma. Right? The underground nation with the fucking giant light post. Right? From going through Inkanomina, we find out that Easteroth had a hand in, keeping those people, safe. Right? I can't remember if she gave them insight to create a device that would illuminate light or whatever. But yeah, she helped them, even though the entire nation fell underground, because of what happened. I believe either with the Archon War or what happened before that with the second who came, who is probably either Nibelung, or when Nibelung came back, and like the funerary year, where there was like the war against the dragons and Nibelung and whatnot. That's around the time, I believe, when Inkanomina fell underground, right? And they thought, oh man, the heavens abandoned us, and then boom, Easteroth comes and saves their ass. At least for a bit of the time being, before she would eventually, leave that place as well. And those people would migrate from Inkanomina to Inazuma, back to the surface. You see what I'm saying? And before that, I'm pretty sure they mentioned the Shade of Time, they mentioned her as the goddess or the god of time in that world quest in Mondstadt. One of the first world quests that you get as you start playing Genshin Impact, especially in Mondstadt, was the one where you go to that fucking that little island off the coast of Mondstadt that has a time dial on it, right? That whole world quest mentioned a god that was worshipped alongside the god of wind, known as the god / the goddess of time, which we know after finally being given the name, which is Easteroth, we knew that to be the goddess of time, Easteroth. And what happens as we continue throughout the story, we finally see what Easteroth looks like. Granted, we haven't seen her in the story, but we've seen plenty of things that's supposed to represent her form multiple times, especially in this recent Archon quest. Listen, we had the God's Limit trailer not that long ago, where we get to see what the Shades actually look like. And there she was with her giant halo that looked like a clock. Oh, hold up. Let me get back to it.
Crazy here? Am I crazy? How the fuck? Okay, wait. All right.
Yes, you are a little bit crazy, because if you this is a showcase that you don't have any writing skills whatsoever when it comes on to story writing. If you don't know what lowering the intensity of the situation is, and that's what they did, I don't know what to say to save you. That's literally what happened. But you take them trying to lower the situation and start to talk about something else, shifting the topic to something positive, to not talk about all this doom and gloom, as something negative, then this is why people like you are not story writers, because you just can't write a story. I've been told recently that if these content creators had the opportunity to give Genshin Impact everything they wanted, the game would EOS in 3 months, which is definitely true, because they will try to fix everything that they say is fixed to be fixed, and then they'll realize the problem after the fact, and then it will be too late. Like, a lot of things people want to be changed, I understand that, but they never really think about it on the other side. They only think about the fixing the original problem. They might fix one problem, and that one problem cause a whole bunch of other issues, but they don't see it like that.
But maybe you just misunderstood again. I don't know.
They burned Irminsul to take care of the Tory. I don't believe the Tory is dead, because they can burn the tree, but they can't burn the roots. And
Did you just say the Toru?
this is why she's not affected by it. Then they burned Irminsul to take care of the Tory. I don't believe the Tory is dead, because they can burn the tree, but they can't burn the roots. And if the roots are still there, the Tory is likely still there to some extent. I do believe the Tory will come back. But,
So the Tory will come back. Doesn't that just prove my point?
No, it doesn't. How does that prove your point, dumbass? He said, DJ King literally gave his speculation of what he thinks might happen, because of the fact that the roots of Irminsul still exist, which potentially could mean that Dottore possibly survived and possibly gave the Pyronosis to Pantalone as he was leaving Sumeru, since, as Nihida said, they couldn't find any trace of the Pyronosis at all after they used it to destroy Irminsul, or the corrupted tree. Right? All DJ King is doing is expressing a possibility, a theory, a potentiality of that being true. Granted, with not much proof to back it, but a lot of speculation.
That there are no permanent consequences?
no, not really. I could definitely point to La Signora. Where is she right now?
Dead as a dog right now. She's in the dirt, 50 feet deep. Cooked. Dead and gone. What about the captain? You said there's no, he claims that there's no consequences. What about the captain? The captain gave up his life and, initiated the paradox that he threatened the god of death with, the goddess of death with. Guess what? She was like, I gotta keep the rules intact. The rules need to stay 100%. Go ahead and initiate that paradox, twin. I can't go against the rules that were set. And guess what? She let him go do that shit. And guess what? The paradox was even mentioned in this story quest. I believe it was Act 9. It was mentioned. The traveler literally flashbacks thinking, is this the paradox that the captain put forth in place? After, he died, or, gave up his life as a payment to death for Maruka using the power of death, or whatever. Like, literally.
She dead. I don't get it. I don't get it, man.
It's crazy how niggas think that there's no consequences to the game. We blatantly have multiple examples of consequences. So crazy.
It's gonna come back. So you're saying I'm right? Like, nothing ever happened. So what are you even making this video for? No losses. I'm just like baffled. Like,
wait. What was this video that nothing ever happens in Genshin Impact? Was that his Genshin Impact?
No, that wasn't his video, but he argued that Genshin Impact, nothing happens in Genshin Impact. This is the same shit he pulled back in version 5.7 when he made a video out of nowhere talking about this Archon quest was bad, this, that, and the third, and that there's no consequence to action because of the fact that, one, we don't see the new Conria manifest on the map alongside the other 7 nations, which, by the way, they never stated such a thing was going to happen, that they were going to manifest Conria alongside the 7 nations. Lumine never said that shit. No member of the Abyss Order ever said that shit, but he sat there and framed it like that was the case, but that was never the case. He was blatantly wrong on that, but he pushed it as if it was the truth. And didn't go far to say, there's no any physical evidence of us doing anything because there's no physical change to the land, despite the fact we have multiple examples of physical changes happening to the land after, guess what, we do an Archon quest. If the most recent Archon quest isn't an example of that to you, I don't know what else is. What more do you want to prove that? We have items in our inventory that literally we get from completing Archon quests. for the past 6 years. We got something that belongs to La Senora after she died. We got something from the Narwhal. We got something from a Pep as well, I believe. Like, we get so much shit from doing world quests, event story quests, character story quests, and Archon quests that is put in our bag and kept in our inventory, so that we'll go back to it and look, oh man, I remember that Archon quest. Oh, I remember this. I remember that. Right? To show that, yeah, as a record of us doing this.
Yeah, right.
Living in reality right now? Am I in a fucking... Am I in a simulation? What the fuck? Like, okay, no losses. Hello?
Oh, that's besides the point. But anyways, this is what I always say, that we can't have skip buttons because it would just amplify situations like this where people don't understand the lore and they make some of the...
Bro, we can't have skip buttons because people would just skip the lore. But if we don't have a skip button, I understand most people would just click away. Like, literally, auto-click their way into finishing the quest.
No, that doesn't... Let me show you something. Like, this is an example of what I mean in this situation. Now, I am going to bring up this retarded content creator, but it is what it is. Say, for example, Genshin, Xenosaga Zero has skip button. And you would think...
Well, Xenosaga Zero does have a skip button. We don't need to think about it. We know that they blatantly have it.
That because of that, you know, people will stop talking and doom posting about the story. This guy still doom posts Xenosaga Zero story. This game has a skip button. He still doom posts Arknight's Enfield. He will still doom post Honkai Star Rail and his story. Like, where is the recent one that he doom posts Honkai Star Rail story? I know it's there somewhere, but he definitely will do that. Like, it's a long time since he talked about HSR. That's good. That's absolutely good. That's absolutely good. But this is what I'm talking about. Content creators like this and his spawns will still doom post Genshin Impact story regardless if it has a skip button or not. So,
exactly. They did. It happened to Zenless, happened to Genshin, it happened to Star Rail. Even before, well, Star Rail and Genshin more so before they implemented a skip button, and more so Star Rail, right? Now there were some valid things you can say about the story for Star Rail, in terms of like presentation, or like if we were spending too much time on one thing instead of like pushing forward into the main story, things like that you could argue, right? But now with the introduction of the skip button, people shut the fuck up now. And really, you haven't seen much complaint about the story at all from anybody. And I think either because niggas have skipped through the story, so they know better than to open their mouth about something that they didn't actually play through, or B, the story has been good and enjoyable, and there's not really much to complain about because the story is checking its boxes. One of the two. Or people just don't care to talk about it because they don't play it anymore, and so they don't have the right. They know better and don't have the right to like speak on it. Like, cause how can you speak on something that you don't play, right?
So I am more focused on giving Genshin Impact actual criticism on actual things they want rather than the skip button. I don't think the skip button is like the high priority must have. I think there's other things that Genshin Impact need more than the skip button. But you know, it is what it is.
So, without the skip button and the skip button, it's still the same thing. I can't even, like, did you reason your way into this video? Or did you emotion your way out of it?
Did he not listen to what I said? With the addition of the skip button, it would be amplified. That is exactly what... This guy air is not working?
Like, did you emotion your way? Because you're angry. I criticized your favorite game.
Oh, wow. He's using that argument. Oh, you're angry because you criticized... You're angry because I criticized your favorite game. Brother Nim, no one's angry that you criticized people's favorite game. Niggas are angry at you because you're blatantly spreading lies and misinformation about what happened in the story, using 5 niggas off of Twitter to then act like they represent the Genshin community as a whole when no the fuck they don't, and then blatantly have been just proven multiple times, not in just DJ King's video, but my video especially, on the bullshit that you sat there and said for an entire 20 minutes, 16 minutes. Because it doesn't take long to, disprove bullshit at all. But it takes more time to disprove bullshit versus, spewing bullshit out your mouth, which takes less than 5 minutes to do. Which you blatantly do with your content all the fucking time.
Man says I'm angry, bro. While he's out here spatting because of my video.
Sorry. I truly am. I'm truly sorry. I didn't mean to talk about Genshin like that. I like the game. I do just as much.
That nigga lying out his fucking mouth. He keeps saying he likes the game, but yet he says that he morally condemns anyone for spending money on the game because this game is not worth your time and money. Yet spent, what was it, $1,000 to C6 Nefer? I'm damn near tempted to pull that video up. Actually, you know what? He probably removed the video. So actually, I can't pull his video up as I'm sitting here thinking about it. Realistically, the only person's video I can pull up talking about it is my own video. Let me actually see if I can pull this shit up. Gotta scroll all the way back in time for this one. Oh, I love this thumbnail. Phony baloney. I love this. Is probably one of my favorite thumbnails I've ever made. Phony baloney was so fucking hilarious. I was sitting there cooking in that fucking lab thinking, bro, what I want to give this label for, or what I want to put on the thumbnail. I was like, oh, phony baloney is perfect. Okay, where are we? This was the apology video he made. That wasn't even an apology video. So let's click this. Let me see where he said that C6 Nefer shit.
Built deck. I actually play the game mode a lot before it got dried up, and that is exactly why I feel comfortable saying that the majority of the player base ignores it. It is literally my observation. And regarding...
I'll get my opinion about the... Hold on, let me go back. Making a video talking about Nod Cry. Well, I have no enemies, which was your video about Flip. That was 5 months ago. I ruined this. Your live streams. There is nothing here of any type of gameplay of you playing the game. So you cannot then get surprised when people call you a tourist. And also, just because you know knowledge about the game does not indict you as someone, or indict, sure. Just because you know something about something doesn't immediately scream that, oh, you're a part of that player base or fan base. Because you could easily learn that from talking to someone who is a part of the fan base, who does have those opinions. So you can't be surprised if someone still calls you a tourist even after you about to say what you're about to say.
An outsider who doesn't actually play the game anymore and just here to farm drama. Now let's look at the receipts. Because in version 6.1, the very patch people claim I didn't play, I spent $1,000 to C6 Nefer. I streamed the million Astro Wonderland for hours, and I don't say this to $1,000 to...
Okay, so maybe he streamed it on Twitch, because I don't see it on his YouTube channel, so that's the only way I'm going off this of. As I'm scrolling through his description, well, enough of me talking that. Here it is right here. Homeboy spent $1,000 on the game he deems as morally problematic, monetarily speaking. How it's so predatory, it was predatory business practice. How it's not worth your money on this, that, and the third. But yet he spent $1,000 to C6 Nefer for a new meta unit, by the way. For that is can only perform, well, is one of the only units who can perform a lunar bloom reaction. One of 2 units who could perform the lunar bloom reaction. Do we see what's going on here? Complete, absolute stupidity.
As much as you do. Well, maybe not as much as you do, but I mean, clearly, I mean, you definitely love it. You can have that. But Jesus Christ, you can't even reason your way into like rebuttaling my video? I'm just like, I'm baffled.
There's no way he would have watched my video because I fucking broke that shit down to the fucking floor of my fucking rebuttal. It was lengthy ad nauseum. And I love the fact that I do that, honestly. Because you can't dismantle someone's video by just... Like, I'm not gonna lie. Personally, the way DJ King went about making his video, dismantling the Glaive Keel's video, personally is not my favorite way of going about dismantling someone's video. That's personally not my favorite way. Hey? Because it leaves too many open holes for people to be like, Oh, well, because you're only doing a screen recording of my video and not actually watching it or watching it or whatever, and you're just talking about it, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 and all the other nonsensical bullshit, right? So that's why I immediately cut off that train of like thought or even that type of argument they would try to use against me by simply reacting to the entire video, pulling up my proof that dismantles their claims, and even, you know, more than just the claims, but disproves their claims. Yeah, I said that correct the first time, and all this other bullshit that they say out their mouth, right? But the way I go about doing it is it's masterful, honestly. Yes, I know I'm gassing myself up a little bit, but like understand, like this is the most premium way you could crush someone's argument. Premium. It's a premium. It's, oh my goodness, it's fucking immaculate rather. It's purely immaculate way of dismantling someone's nonsensical argument from top to bottom. It's so good. Honestly, people should do this more. Do hour-long reactions that dismantles people's arguments at length and ad nauseum. Which is like, you know, respect the fact that Ninja King is doing this in this video right here.
I can't say anything. I'm sorry. Like, you got it, big bro. Like, oh, shit. Oh, shit, he fucking sighed.
Make some of the...
Fuck, he sighed, bro. Fuck.
Bro, this is that schizo freaking brain rot type ass reaction. Like, oh, he sighed, bro. Look at how he sighed, bro. Like, bro, what the fuck is this? What is this retarded ass shit on my screen going on right now? Ninja King, you gotta give me an apology, bro, for making me have to sit here and look at this. Anyway, what was I doing? Oh, that's right.
Why is oh my god, bro is tripping out, man.
Dude, he sighed. I lost. I'm sorry, dude. Fuck, I didn't know I caused that much distress. You haven't even started
It's so corny, bro.
the video. This was just like the first minute. Fuck. Man, I guess the title really got to you. Fuck. I don't know.
The other thing, the next thing
Oh, he's pissed. He is pressed.
talked about in this video in particular is Glapia was talking about some people that were crashing out about how Mafika just hand over the paranosis to Nahida, and like just like that she didn't care about the paranosis, or isn't that where the rise from?
What the fuck is he saying?
Oh my god.
He's not even engaging in it in good faith. The most bad faith ass nigga. One of the most bad faith ass niggas I've ever reacted to has been Glapia. Blatantly. This is so bad faith. Tell me something. Oh, what is he saying? Nigga, you know exactly what the fuck he talking about. The hell? Oh my gosh. Hate when niggas sit here and try to act like they don't know. You know exactly what the fuck it is. Bro, I can't believe this. This type of behavior irks me. I hate it when people do this shit even in real life. Outside of this gotcha shit, let's be so fucking real. When niggas do this shit in real life, when they sit here and act like they don't know what the fuck you talking about, and they want to sit here and try to make you look stupid for the sake of their little shits and giggles, that shit pisses me off. I hated that shit when it happened in school, going through middle school into high school. I hated that shit. I hate that shit even as an adult. And I'm gonna say this right now, niggas better be glad that there's laws and regulations and shit in place. Because I promise you, if no such things were in place, I would let people have it. I promise you. I will become unhinged. I would say, what the hell you say to me? Boom. You're gonna get a crazy left hook to the mouth. But because I was taught right from wrong, I can't go around swinging my fists at people. But I would be lying if I didn't say there were moments in my life where I felt the need, like, no, bro, fuck these rules. I promise I had so many moments of that in my life when it came down to bullies, people who were just being stupid for the sake of being stupid, and so on. Oh my Lord, good Lord in heaven. That's what God knows me better than everybody, than anyone else on this planet, bro. God knows me better, right? He knows what battles to give me, what battles not to give me. He knows. He know I be trying my damnedest not to act like a damn fool when people start doing shit like this. He know I be trying. He knows. He know I can't stand niggas like this. Oh my gosh.
Glaive Kiev, did you just commit racism? Did you just... Because I'm an ESL, so surely you of all persons would be like understanding that us ESL persons struggle with English. You didn't attack me for that, would you? Right?
Is he crying? He's shaking a lot.
He's
crying and shaking. Bitch, how the fuck can you even tell that when he's not even showing his face? Or you're like, well, based off how he sound, how he's talking, brother, you can't even understand what the fuck he's even saying when he's speaking directly, and as clearly as possible. Even every time I listen to a DJ King video, at least I understand what the fuck DJ King be saying out the fuck out of his mouth. No disrespect to DJ King when I say all these words, but blatantly, I understand everything that he says. Damn it. Like, even Mr. Pokey. Mr. Pokey got a heavy accent on him. You know English ain't his first language. But even then, I understand what Mr. Pokey is saying.
He's shaking.
This is because
Oh shit, he's tired again.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. This that fucking tectone level ass type of reaction where someone is blatantly coming into the picture to disprove you and you're not even willing to engage in it in good faith. So you're gonna do this thing where you're trying to belittle them, belittle the person in every which way possible to try to make them look like dumbasses in comparison to you when you're blatantly being proven wrong. That's what this tactic is.
isn't that where about the rise of?
Oh shit, he's tired again. Fuck.
What the hell, bro? We're just not talking about the topic here, are we?
Am I a bully? Oh my god, he's actually pressed.
This is because people skip lore.
This is because people skip lore.
At this point, we got to stop calling lore. We need to start calling it information. Information that the story has provided to us multiple times over the course of 6 years. We need to start calling it that from now on because niggas love doing this thing where they're not going to take seriously when someone says lore. So cool. We're going to call this factual information from now on. The factual information that was provided in the story for over the course of 6 years has already painted the picture for us and given us information that we need to understand about how XYZ thing operates in the mechanics of said story so that when shit happens, it does not come out of nowhere and is not an ass pull.
Did you hear how he said it? I got it. Oh.
Wow, how progressive. Laughing at a man who, you know, English is clearly not his first language. How progressive. Yeah, I'm being spicy when I talk right now. Yeah, I said that shit. It's always niggas, ooh, don't get me started, bro.
What are we doing here? Like, it doesn't change the fact that you lied, bro. It doesn't change the fact that you lied 3 times and I showcase every time that you lied because you just didn't pay attention to the lore. How does this change anything? I don't know.
Oh.
This is because people skip lore.
This is because people skip lore. I got.
Look how blatantly bad faith this is. He is not even continuing the video forward to even hear what else this nigga DJ King had to say, but he's harping on this lore point as if this is a good pushback argument to bring up to disprove DJ King and what he said about Glaive Keel's video. Just recognize that, right? Recognize that behavior. Recognize that way of argumentation, rather. Right? I promise you, it's going to help you out in the long run.
I got. Oh my god, I can't.
The pyrognosis, or gnosis in general, is not what an Archon's power is deprived from. It's sort of like a elemental amplifier.
Whoa. Why are we talking about mathematics suddenly? Oh, he locked in immediately. Shit.
No. My god, bro. If you're like impressed by basic, oh my god.
Whoa, I understand. Damn. Why are you locked in immediately? What happened here? You went from crying to locking in. Damn. Queen never cry.
Power is deprived from. It's sort of like a elemental amplifier. It's not their source of strength. If you have not noticed that before, this thing in Genshin Impact's lore called the Archon War, where
why the fuck is he talking about an Archon War?
Yeah, what?
Oh my god, blatant blatant, deliberate retardation on screen in 4K 1000. What's that GIF? Actually, let me see if I can find it. Not even a GIF, but I want just like the clip. I just want a clip. Caught in 4K. I need to pull this up now. I need like the meme or the glyph. the clip of it. Man, oh my gosh, I need to find it. Let's see if I can type it up. Caught in 4K. A GIF. No, give me images, fool. I need images. It sucks that I won't be able to see the full thing because it's all on the fucking side of the screen. I fucking hate this, actually. This little feature when it comes down to this. It's like, bro, if I want to look at the full thing, let me see the full thing. Why you got it all on the side of my screen? I need funny pictures in motion. But anyway, this is essentially what this is. Caught in 4K. We just got to use it like this as is. 4K 1000. Cameras everywhere. Caught in 4K. This nigga clearly ain't paying attention to the fucking video, yet got the audacity to do a reaction to it to try to dismantle it and disprove it.
Why the hell am I talking about the Archon War? The war that all the people were fighting, all the gods were fighting to get supremacy of the nations. You know, where the strongest the strongest god would win, you know? Why?
The same Archon War that Celestia put forth in place after they created the Gnosis, so that, guess what? The Heavenly Principles can sustain his power over the world and suppress the original order of the world with this new order he brought forth. Celestial information / lore that we've known about for years at this point. That niggas talked about ad nauseum. Crazy, right? How the story is doing its due diligence to connect dots so shit does not come off as ass pulling. But, you know, retarded niggas can't see that, apparently.
Why are we talking about that? It maybe it's because it's directly related to them getting the Gnosis from the heavenly principle after winning the Archon War. But you see, if somebody doesn't pay attention to the lore, how are they gonna know this? This is what.
And I bet this nigga Glaive Keel does not even know the fact that King Desperate turned down the Dendronosis. He turned it down and gave it up, and actually gave it to the person that would become the Dendro Archon, which is Ruka Devata. Now, I may be incorrect on something like the timeline of the events, but someone can correct me in the comment section below, right? I bet Glaive Keel does not even know that. And why it is that the Desert King, King Deseret, opposed Celestia and tried to break free from Celestia and their fate-weaving machine, which is Irminsul or whatever. Well, it's not really a machine, it's a tree, we all know that, right? By creating the Aru system, aka the Golden Slumber, that's supposed to be a hive mind collective.
That's why this guy is so confused, because he doesn't know this.
What? I never said anything about that. Huh?
Actively not. Tell me you wasn't paying attention without telling me you wasn't paying attention. Reaction. Like, come on, bro. What the fuck are we doing? Literally making himself out to look like more of a dumbass for every time he opens his fucking mouth. Like, bruh. Why are you moving so ignorantly? Come on. For a nigga who prides himself to being so intelligent and so correct morally, there's not a third, and whose quote-unquote criticism is so valid, yet you don't understand where he was taking the video and where we got from point A to point B in DJ King's argument for why he was saying what things he was saying. Like, bruh.
Shit, what did I say? Actually hold them, and no matter what steal them. The looking of the game items that has no real stakes. Take the Gnosis, for example, the chess piece looking items that hold divine power for years. Okay, they hold divine power. Right. The main driving force of the game has been chasing these things down or watching the villain steal them.
It has never been about chasing them down. We've never had the objective of stopping the Fatui from getting each and every Gnosis. That was never the main objective of the Traveler. That was a side objective at best, but even then, it held no true consequence to the Traveler, whether or not if the Fatui got the Gnosis. Especially with their own personal journey that they are on.
This is a plot device, right? This is the point. We go from nation to nation, search for our sister, but also, we don't want the Fatui to get these gnosis, right? That's the main, basically, the plot.
That's not the main plot. Again, he's incorrect about that. The main plot is reuniting with our sibling. The side plot is potentially stopping the Fatui from getting their hands on the Gnosis, which we have absolutely, for the most part, failed to do so. The Fatui have 6 out of 7 Gnosis. They got it in their bag. At this point, ever since, let's say, ever since fucking Sumeru, the Fatui have won that back and forth. There's no even need for us to even try to stop them from getting their hands on another Gnosis. They've won blatantly. And we still don't even know what the Streets plans to do with the Gnosis. It's still speculation on what she plans to do with that damn thing. People still think maybe she'll resurrect the third Descender. Maybe she'll use it as like a weapon or something. We just don't know. And we haven't known for a long time. And now that we're going to Snezhnaya, we may learn the reason behind her actions.
Right? Looking at the community discussions, people are pointing out that the loss of the Gnosis means absolutely nothing to the gods who actually hold them. And yes, no matter what arguments you use to defend this fact, all of it is really just theories.
A game theory.
There is no official confirmation about why these things happen. You can sort of guess it back in Ligue when the Geo Archon just handed.
What do we do here? What do we do here?
I blatantly disproved this point by showing clips and whatnot, showing and proving that, you know, Zhongli didn't just give it up willy-nilly. He gave it up because the Saritsa and him have a personal contract with each other, which he cannot divulge. And it was in relation to the fucking Gnosis being the thing that he would hand over to her, right? So there's that. 2, when it came down to Yaimiko traded the Gnosis to save the Traveler's life because guess what? Holy fucking guacamole, the Traveler would have died at the hands of Scaramouche, but she did it to save the Traveler's life to prevent Scaramouche from killing him. The Traveler, which the Traveler was needed to defeat Raiden Shogun because no one else had the power nor the strength to defeat the Raiden Shogun.
Here, man, bro. It's like he doesn't really understand the lore, honestly, because he doesn't really understand why they don't care too much about the Gnosis. Like, Zhongli wasn't really.
Nor does he understand that these gods clearly do not like Celestia. And they've expressed it so blatantly. Whether it be blatantly or subtly, they've expressed that. The fact that he claims that he's paid attention to the story, claims that he did XYZ thing, but doesn't remember this blatant information that was so straight in our faces, speaks volumes. It tells us everything we need to know. That he did not play the game that he claims he did. Nigga probably was talking to his chat the entire playthrough. Or probably wasn't actually paying attention to everything and just going through the fucking motions.
Really using his Gnosis. Venti just straight up gives his away to Lesser. No, you have to getting kicked. And Raiden wasn't even using hers. Naida was using hers for the Akasha system. Farina was using hers for the Ortris Mechanis Cardinal. And
yeah, that's the word salad for that one.
What was the power Archon using hers for again? I don't think she wasn't using it for anything. She was just having it sit there. I don't think she was using it for anything.
I think she used it to empower herself, honestly. I think that's what I remember. She used the 6 tribe heroes and their ancient names to fill her with memories, which fire has a direct correlation with memory in Genshin Impact's world. Right, she used that to empower herself so that she can be able to defeat Zoitoth and, you know, slap that bitch back into the depths of the Night Kingdom. And then, you know, later on, I think she used the Gnosis again, at least to like purge that nigga once and for all. Granted, I could be entirely wrong and don't remember that shit verbatim, but she didn't really use the Gnosis. I think the Gnosis actually was just used to initiate the Ode of Resurrection. I think that's what she used the Power Gnosis for.
So. No, it's not as important as you make it out to be.
It is over, and it was and then it was Pyro and Electro, same thing. So what's your point?
Different entities fight for supremacy because there was many gods.
Why are you even talking about this? I never argued this.
Man doesn't want to go too far off script because like he doesn't understand the lore about it. I understand. right? And it's basically the strongest archons, strongest gods in that particular area.
Why the fuck is he talking about this?
That won Archon War and then was ascended to being Archon of that particular nation.
Why is he reciting the explanation for algebra? What the fuck?
Zhongli
How did he even get here?
was really, really strong before, and he came down and he won against everybody else. This is why he's Archon. The Gnosis is not their power. Most of the Archons, they don't even use the Gnosis for power.
The fact that Gladio can't understand that Deedon King is explaining why the Gnosis do not have such absolute, let's see, isn't viewed as this ultra sacred thing to these Archons, and he's literally explaining in depth what the Gnosis are, and then explaining simultaneously, after explaining what the Gnosis are and what they provide to, and what they are to the Archons, literally is explaining in depth about why it is, which what he'll be doing next, which is why these Gnosis don't hold value to the Archons at all. All they are fucking trophies. Honestly, they're just trophies. To be like, oh, you won the Archon War. Here's your divine seat. Good job. You enjoy killing your friends and whatnot to get your hands on it? Basically.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. That's my whole point.
Farina, the Hydro Gnosis, use it for machine.
The
what? What? You'll notice the leeway boss, Mr. Zhang Li, he used it to print money.
Okay.
I don't know what.
So why did they give him away?
They already was using it for already.
They explained why they gave it away. He's sitting there asking a dumbass question that has a blatant answer to that was already given to us multiple times. Every damn time the Gnosis got in the hands of the Fatui. Every damn time. The fact that he's shocked by this is stupid as shit. Does he not remember what happened with Dottore and Nahida? When Nahida gave him both the Electro-Gnosis and the Dendro-Gnosis? She traded it. Rightfully so. Electro-Gnosis was given to him because he destroyed his segments. That was the payment she wanted from him, and he did it. Dottore wanted the Dendro-Gnosis, but she didn't give it up unless he exchanged information with her, which guess what was more than enough payment, especially when the information was just as valuable, if not more valuable than that of the Gnosis itself. And that's why she, guess what, got or gave up the Dendro-Gnosis as well.
Before I just had on did Raiden use it? Raiden wasn't even using hers. Raiden just have Yamiko keep it because she didn't even need it.
Exactly. Venti doesn't use it. Raiden doesn't use it. So what's the point?
So,
okay.
So if your point of that video, which he said, was how the Gnosis is such an important stuff, why is Mavika giving it away to the Traveler like that, then doesn't this just invalidate your point, which is exactly what I was saying? So how are you not... I get it. ChatGPT wasn't here to translate it for you, so you didn't really understand what I remember. Now I get it.
Forgot what Venti used.
I remember. You remember? I remember. Remembered? South Park reference.
I'm gonna forgive you. Because apparently I know more lore than you. You know why? Because Venti used his Gnosis. Venti wasn't originally a person. Venti was a wind. A literal wind. Venti was a wind. Venti also meant, like, in a different language, means wind. Venti was a wind. Has no physical being. The Gnosis, given by Celestia, gave him a physical body.
That's not what happened. That's the biggest load of lie ever pushed. The fact that he sat there and said that with such confidence, that this nigga Venti manifested his body using the Animo Gnosis, is such a blatant lie. Because we know that's not true. He used his own elemental power to make himself or take on the form of his human friend. He never states that he used the Gnosis to do so. Even if I were to do a Google search right now. Actually, let's do this shit right now. And if I'm proven wrong on this, I'll admit that I'm wrong on this. But let's do this. Let me go to my Google real quick. Did Venti use the Gnosis to create his human form? My bad, I'm still searching. All right, now let me go to the Genshin wiki so I can show y'all. Okay. Let's go here to the Genshin fandom. Let's scroll. Overview. Oh shit, hold up. Turn that off. Pretty sure that was it, right? Yep, turn that off. Oh, wait a minute. Why is this Ascension shit? I don't care about Ascension shit. Give me profile. I want profile. This is Friendship Character Story 2. Around 26,000 years ago, the Archon War had yet to end. The world had yet to fall under the domain of the Seven. Okay, let's see. The Lord of Wind, who lived in his high tower, was Decarabian, god of storms. He squinted from on high as his subjects, who bowed before him, and when relieving them submission, thought this good. And Vinci was just a simple. Okay, here we go. He was but a single thread of the thousand winds that roared through the lands. He would later be on the Barbados, was but a tiny elemental spirit without a shred of divinity or divine dignity. That breeds us and monster of Olvity, like young boy. Trench 5. The elemental being Venti obtained the feather of an eagle for the lad living in the storm. The war broke out. They took away Venti. Watched the fall of the ruler. The ruler believed that he had given his subjects a city free from bitter cold, and in the end he believed that they loved him as much as he loved them. Yet they was able to give the flower to the lad with the wind coming. Okay, go. With the crumbling of an ancient seat of divinity, a new god was born. The animal Archon felt power swelling at his fingertips. His first use of this power was to reconstitute himself in the likeness of the young lad. Okay, so right here in his character story number, what number is this? 4. It states that he reconstituted after he. Surprisingly, I don't even know how he would even be deemed as the winner in a fight against Decarabian when he was never. Well, he wasn't one who sparked the child's desire to rebel against the gods or against Decarabian. I'm pretty sure he didn't. I'm pretty sure those people were already on the verge of doing that. It just Vinci was just like there alongside the boy's side. Yes, I could be wrong. But anyway, back to the point though. His first use of this power, because he had felt power flowing at his fingertips. So they say they said, with the crumbling of an ancient seat of divinity, a new god was born. The animal Archon felt power flowing at his fingertips. His first use of this power was to reconstitute himself in the likeness of a young lad. It never states that he used the Gnosis to do this. It simply states that he felt divine power enter his being at his fingertips, and then he used said power to reconstitute his body to take on the form of his dead friend. That's all that it states. We know Zhongli has changed genders before, because Zhongli has been female at one point, right? But there's no saying that he used the Geonosis to do that. We know Raiden Shogun and Raiden Makoto were, elemental beings born of a thunder Sakurai tree, or the branch or the bark of one, and that's how they came into being. It never states that they came into being via using the fucking electronosis, and they never stated to be humans either. So there's that. Nahida didn't come into existence thanks to the fucking or she didn't have her human form thanks to the dendronosis. Her human form came later after she, after Rukkhadevata, imbued her with power, because she was this little branch leaf, and then the little branch leaf became, boom, this humanoid figure. For Nouvellette, right? For Nouvellette never had a human form until recently, because once the I forgot what the information was exactly, but after something happened that sparked for the availability of Nouvellette to reincarnate in a human form. Oh, that's right. It was the death of Egeria, because she was the new heart of the Primordial Sea. But after she died, there was now nothing stopping Nouvellette from coming, or the Hydro Dragon from manifesting again, because Egeria's presence stopped the Hydro Dragon from being reborn entirely. But after she died, it allowed for him to come back into life. But he came back in the form of a human. He does not know why he came back in the form as a human. He doesn't understand why that was the case, but that just happened. Something caused that. He still don't understand, but that's just how things went. For the Pyro Archon, every Pyro Archon has been human, as stated by every Pyro Archon that we come across or we learn about. Every last one of them has been human, so there's nothing to need about that. For the Cryo Archon, seemingly the Cryo Archon is a Fae, which is already a being that exists. It's without the need of a Gnosis, which we've seen in the game, and we have two playable characters who are Fae. Wrong button. So there's nothing here confirming that he used the Gnosis to create a new body for himself. Him creating the Gnosis with his body comes off as speculation, based off of the fact that they said divine power with that with the crumbling of an ancient seat of divinity, and new god was born. The animal Archon Barbados felt power flowing at his fingertips. In this point in time, Homeboy didn't even have fingertips. That's for one. So for them to even call it fingertips is kind of crazy. Homeboy didn't have fingers. But yeah, this whole him using the Gnosis to refashion his body comes off more as speculation, assuming that this is the Gnosis, rather than, this is just like him having done it himself. Because we know with elemental power and elemental energy and whatnot, from Nahida's second story quest, there's a whole concept of growth, right? You hoarding in, like absorbing a whole bunch of elemental energy would allow for you to achieve growth. And if you dispel a lot of elemental energy, you would reverse in growth. You will get smaller and smaller and smaller until you revert back to your original form, which was the original thing that you manifested from. Like we found out in Nahida's story quest, right? If Nahida kept expanding, or not expanding, but exerting herself the way that she was, right? She would, no, I think she gave an example that if she used a whole bunch of elemental energy, she would revert back into a branch of Irminsul, her first original form. she would revert back into that, right? So knowing that to be the case, realistically, Nahida only has a humanoid form because of the fact that she absorbed a lot of dendro energy, and then boom, and then obtained a human form, rather than the gnosis was given to her, and then boom, she transformed or used it to transform herself and give herself a humanoid form. Like, no. So already, this is what Glaive Keel is claiming doesn't even come off as correct. It comes off as pure speculation, purely because of the fact that the gnosis is a divine thing. I say with air quotes because it's not really divine.
That is what the gnosis is for. And I apparently I know more lore than you, which is
So, oh my god, should we? So if the gnosis is what Venti is currently using to give himself a physical body, and Venti doesn't have the gnosis right now, how is Venti maintaining that physical body?
Exactly. That's why his take makes no fucking sense. Now, the AI on fucking Google will sit here and lie to you and tell you that, yes, Venti did use the gnosis to give himself a human form, but in the character story that I just read out to you, it never states that he used the gnosis to create himself a human form. It never states that. It never explicitly states it. Because if it was the gnosis, guess what? The devs would have explicitly stated that, yes, it was the gnosis. But they didn't. So again, it's pure assumption that it's the gnosis, with no hardcore evidence and proof that it is the gnosis. And again, we know how he's maintaining his human form. It's purely because it's elemental energy. He used elemental energy or animal power to manifest his form. Or who knows, the god of time may have had a hand in creating his human form without him realizing, potentially. Because he has a direct connection to the god of time.
Let's entertain you for a bit, Glaive Keel. Let's entertain you for a bit. Let's use this one. Let's use this one to entertain you for a bit. What is Venti, right? Currently using the gnosis, right? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's see if he is correct on that, because he said that, right? Venti does not have his animal gnosis. He lost it early in his storyline when he was taken. Okay, so because the gnosis is a passion,
It literally states right there. Since Venti is fundamentally an elemental wind spirit, he does not need to rely on the gnosis to exist or to wield his animal powers. Brother them. If this does not tell you that the fucking AI on Google is incorrect, because AI on Google will sit here and tell you one thing, but then you ask it a different question and it completely disproves the point that they made earlier. I literally did the same thing and searched this shit. It claimed that, yes, he did use the gnosis to transform himself into a human. But I go onto the site for the information. It does not state that in the slightest. And then when you ask the question, okay, so did he use this to, create himself a human form? How is he maintaining his human form then? Because if the gnosis is this strong, powerful thing that is directly connected to him, how can he maintain his human form without the gnosis? And the answer basically tells you in the face with what DJ King searched. This nigga is an elemental being. We learned about elemental beings and lore related to it across the game, about how elemental beings can use elemental power to, gain and obtain growth, and or use it to, release all the growth that they've obtained over time and shrink down in size until they revert back to their original form.
He does not rely on the gnosis to exist or to wield his animal abilities. Where are you getting this information that Venti is using the gnosis to maintain his physical presence? Because, if this is the case, then wouldn't Venti just become a win again because like he lost the Gnosis? Like because the
Like, and another thing too, the game never states that once someone uses the Gnosis for something, if the Gnosis is taken from the Archon, that thing that the Archon used their Gnosis for, it reverts back to its original form or ceases to exist. They never state shit like that. So knowing that Mora continues to exist, even though the Gnosis was used to make Mora, already tells you that Mora, the people do not need the what you call it, the Gnosis, the Geognosis to make more Mora. They don't need to do that. And from what we understand, Mora has been around for a long time in the world of Teyvat. So there's a whole abundance of that bitch all across the fucking world. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. And realistically, guess what? They'll find a new form of currency when the time comes. In case Mora eventually runs out. Because that's the consequence of not having the Geognosis. They can't make no more Mora. They can't mint no more Mora. Or rather, they can't make no more Mora. Because the Golden House is used to mint Mora.
The Gnosis is the possession of, in the possession of Fatui. Venti is not using it for anything lore. From later in the series reveals that the Gnosis functions as an elemental tether to Celestia rather than an Archon's primary source of power, which is what I said. Since Venti is fundamentally an elemental wind spirit, it does not rely on the Gnosis to... So let's tackle his actual claim. His claim that Venti used the Gnosis for its physical form, right? Alright, let's see. We're doing this live. I'm not cutting anything. Did Venti use the Gnosis to create his body, right? Because surely he's right. I am confident. Yes, according to the lore, Genshin Impact, Venti did use his Gnosis to create his humanoid body. Before becoming the Animal Archon, Venti was just a tiny, formless wind spirit who fought alongside a young Nemesis. So he was right that Venti did use the Gnosis to create his human body form. But apart from that, he was not using his Gnosis to do anything else. Like, what else was Venti using it for apart from that? So I'll give him W on that. Like, he was right, but not fully right. Like, my thought was like, what is he using it for currently? He's not using it for anything currently, which is why he didn't really care about it.
I didn't know I was like that, to be honest. I mean, this guy is criticizing me. Yeah, I'm a lore skipper. I'm a lore skipper. Yeah, I'm a lore skipper.
But it's kind of funny that the the lore that you remember is from the femboy. No,
of course it is. It's not that surprising. He likes femboys, and guess what? Venti is a femboy, so clearly he remembered that lore, to which I question if it's even accurate, because Google AI can't be trusted for indefinite answers.
No hate towards femboy though.
Okay.
Like to that people think that the power is based on the Gnosis. It's just the fact that they don't pay attention to lore, and this is why I don't want.
What? I don't pay attention to lore because the power is based on the Gnosis? I never said that. And this is the fact they just don't pay attention to lore.
And on top of that, like, the Gnosis is literally damn near no different from a vision. By all accounts, if a being such as fucking if a non-human being obtained a vision, which we have blatantly seen in the game, we have a whole bunch of non-human beings having visions, right? If the Gnosis has the ability to allow one to transform their physical form into something else, don't you think the vision should also have the same ability? Since the only difference between the Gnosis and a vision is that the Gnosis is just the symbol of the Archon, a symbol of the Archon, and on top of that, just the prize that the Archon gets from Celestia for surviving the Archon War or winning the Archon War blatantly, right? That's all it really is, right? If the Gnosis could transform one's physical form, and that means every human Archon should have been able to transform their physical form too, but we don't hear nothing about that. Zhongli, he should be able to transform his physical form using the Gnosis, but from what we know, he doesn't do that, nor there was any confirmation that he did that. Raiden Shogun, Sumeru with shoot, if we use Sumeru and the Hida and Rukkhadvata, if the Gnosis has the ability to allow for someone to elemental being to create a human form for themselves, surely the Gnosis should also have the ability to create a secondary avatar of oneself. Right? But that's not what happened with Nahida. Nahida wasn't birthed into existence from using the Dendrognosis. She was birthed into existence using the, guess what? Irminsul tree.
To the Lord, brother, you don't pay attention to my video. You didn't pay attention to my video. I never said that shit.
Let's keep on to be getting back because you're just gonna have a bunch of people that don't know what you're talking about and they're gonna just misrepresent the game because they just didn't pay attention to the lore. How is it that this just proves, in theory, that you can't please these people no matter
what? Please people? What? Huh? I never. Huh, brother? You didn't even elaborate on it. I said, yo, the Genshin.
He's crashing out for real. Oh my god.
Gnosis is fucking useless. Then what's the point? What's the point of Gnosis? The Archons doesn't use them. Right? He even
asked what the point of the Gnosis are. Literally was stated by Nahida that the Gnosis symbolizes the heavenly principles control over Teyvat. Their rules and shit that they put in place. That is what, the Gnosis represents. That was the point of them creating the Gnosis. Literally, Nouvelette's second character story talks about, I think it was Nouvelette's second character story talks about how the heavenly principles created the Gnosis with the second who came, I think, to then take the corpse of the third descender and use it to create, the corpse of the third descender to create the Gnosis and shit like that. Actually, I gotta pull up Genshin Impact right now, actually.
He even said it in his video. I agree. And that is the fucking point. The Archons doesn't use them. We don't use them. And every single time, the Gnosis just disappear. The Zhongli gave it away. Yaemiko gave it away. Mawika tossed it to us. Venti got his ass kicked. Gnosis got stolen from him, and he didn't even fight it back. What's the fucking point?
Then why don't you ask and question the intention of the character then? Because it's clear as day, Venti's life is not reliant on the existence of the Gnosis. And again, if he paid attention to the story, he would know that Venti, along with the other Archons, are very iffy towards Celestia. There has not been one Archon that we have come across in the game who bends the knee to Celestia and like, I pray and worship you, gods of Celestia. I am your humble servant. We've never had one Archon like that throughout this entire game. The only thing you could closely argue that we had an Archon that was similar to that was Raiden Shogun, because she feared going against Celestia after what she saw what happened to Conria, when she strayed away from what the heavenly principles wanted. Which is why it encouraged her to be like, yo, I need to instill my path of eternity so that we can be close to the heavenly principles. So that the same shit that I saw happen to Conria doesn't happen to, guess what, Inazuma, the place I love, the place I live at.
And you just proved to me why. Like, I agree with you.
Okay, to give proper context, because like Cliff don't want to do it. In that video, and we're gonna have to go over it again because we're gonna slow it down so that Glaive Kiev, because he doesn't want to do it, can understand how did he mess up here. Now, let's go back to here. Let's full screen it so he doesn't see that he can't see it, and let's slow it back down. It's already normal. Let's listen perfectly to what he says here, right?
Consequences started a broader realization among the player base that the overarching plot has no real stakes.
So the overarching plot has no real stakes, right?
The Gnosis, for example, the chess piece looking items that hold divine power. For years, the main driving force of the game has been chasing these things down or watching the villains steal them. But looking at the community discussions, people are pointing out that the loss of a Gnosis means absolutely nothing to the gods who actually hold them. And no matter what arguments you use to defend this fact, all of it is really just theories.
A game theory.
So I don't know what he's talking about how Gnosis are important.
This is what Nouvelette's vision story says right here in relation to the Gnosis. This is what it says right here. I got to pull it up. Nouvelette does not have a vision to manipulate the elements. However, there were some things he learned only after regaining his complete form, aka getting his dragon authority back. Severely wounded in the Great War of Vengeance, the usurper had their functions ruined and could no longer use their absolute authority to suppress the original order of this world, to continue to subdue and control the resentments and loathing of the world, which probably is just like the abyss, and more than likely, the will of the Dragon King Nibelung being pissed that his world got taken from him. The usurper and the usurper and the one who came after created the Gnosis together. So it came to be that an order was made to be upheld, and thus did humans come to only possess these 7 remembrances, aka fragments of the dragon, the elemental power belonging to the dragons, and of course, no, more so the dragons than the Gnosis. The elemental power belonging to the dragons was, boom, bestowed upon the humans, which what turns into visions, because dragons are the god level power, visions are the thing underneath that. Because as we know, Neuvillette was the one who gave Farina her elemental vision, her hydro vision. He did that. So clearly, visions can only be given to humans thanks to dragon power. The casing in which that elemental power is in and the dragon authority is in is what the Gnosis are, which is the body of the third descender. Those chess pieces are just the casing. Anyway, let's continue. And all fragments of the primordial were driven to devour each other. From that day onward, whenever a person's wishes reached the heavens, the 7 overseers of the material realm were duty bound to grant them a gift, though they might know nothing of who or what wish had stepped into the threshold of the sacred. The 7 archons still had to impart a shattered shard of their mastery of that person. They still had to impart a shattered shard of their mastery to that person, and when one is so gifted completed their duty, the gifts the gods would receive in return would be more abundant still. What exactly is that gift? We don't know. Neuvillette obeys no edict from the heavens, but he does acknowledge human will. So he too set aside parts of himself, as like unto the dragon treasure hoards of old, awaiting valiant humans to come and claim them.
You don't care about it. It's just always been the case. I don't know why is he crashing out on it.
And you said I'm a lore skipper for an argument that I never made. Wow. Oh, I mean, I didn't even know. Like, what are we even doing here? Right? What? Right? I never said a Gnosis is a source of power. I mean, it holds power, obviously. Right?
Bro, yes you did. You argue that the fucking Gnosis is a great source of power to the Archons, and that it is supposed to be deemed as this important thing to the Archons. That's exactly what the fuck you did. What are you talking about?
It's an amplifier, right? I also noticed he said it's an amplifier. Yes, a Gnosis makes you stronger. So why give it away?
A Gnosis.
Why give it away? Because guess what? These Archons aren't so weak that they need their fucking Gnosis. With the exception of Nahida, obviously. But outside of her, guess what? They don't need the Gnosis. They're not having 1v1 battles every damn day of their life. So they have no need for the Gnosis. Nahida shut down the Akasha system because of the negative effect that it had on current Sumeru, because of the sages' obsession with wanting to preserve Ruka Nevada's legacy so bad that they were harming the academia and the people of the desert simultaneously because of their obsession. So guess what? She shut it down. And because, it was stifling their desire to seek knowledge and to seek wisdom, right? So she shut that shit down. And guess what? With this new system, the Aru system that they're using, it's essentially become the new Irminsul. Well, instead of them learning information from it, they're pouring information into it. I think something along them lines. I can't remember what exactly was said, but it's something akin to that.
This makes you stronger, so why give it away? So he basically says exactly what I'm talking about. The Archons don't need it that much, and that's what I said.
The point is, what? You can't even answer me that. You just theory crafted your way into an argument I never made. And you actually cried, shaking, talking in that voice, like, oh, he skipped the lore. This. Which is why we know
My
you want
God.
skip button over an argument I never made. What? I crashed out. I guess I did. Fuck. Holy shit.
No matter what,
Okay, so this proves in theory you can't please these people,
we
okay?
just got one of the most packed, lore-intensive patches in Genshin Impact's history.
Do you realize how much money this will save us?
What's that?
DJ King, you need to get your hands on that fucking YouTube Premium, bro. Oh shit. Oh, even in the Gnosis story for the Archons, if you have any of those characters on your account, they even give us their perspectives on it. Literally, Nahida's perspective on the Gnosis is this: the Gnosis to her was but a core that gathers a mass of elemental power at her discretion. But if there is nothing more to a Gnosis, why was a god so eager to gather all of them together? aka asking, why is it that the Tsaritsa wants these Gnosis if this is all that the Gnosis provides? Shaking hands in bargain means an equal compromise for both parties, a far cry from any victory. On the other hand, turning down the bargain indicates a certain type of ignorance, which obviously would more easily invite a loss of control. Thus did the God of Wisdom instantly find her answer, aka talking about how she gave the Dendronosis to what's his face, Dottore, that we put in the blender. Let me go to the next character who had Mavwika. What's Mavwika's take? Oh no, wait, Mavwika, she doesn't have a Gnosis. She has a vision. That's interesting. I did not know that. Her vision, she doesn't have a Gnosis story. She has a vision story. Okay, let's move on from Mavwika then, because that's really interesting. Okay, let's go, because I only have a few Archons on my account, so I can't use every last one of them. Or Archon level creatures. I need Raiden Shogun. Where's Raiden Shogun? I think I passed Raiden Shogun. Raiden Shogun, here you go. Gnosis story. Oh, as it reads right here, literally explaining what Yamiko said in further depth about how she got the Gnosis from Raiden Shogun. Raiden Shogun's Gnosis story literally states, before she came to dwell in the plane of Euphemia permanently, A was troubled for a time concerning where she might store her Gnosis. She no longer had any need of it, but such an important item could not simply be placed anywhere. She had initially intended to have it modified into an energy supply device. But no matter what she did, her techniques had no effect on the Gnosis at all. So she gave it to Yaimiko. Upon hearing this request, Yaimiko could not help but joke, "Aren't you afraid that I might just sell this off? You understand the value of a Gnosis. Even if you sold it, I trust that you would have exchanged it for something of equal value, and that is no easy price to pay. With someone of Yaimiko's character, it would be no surprise if she ever sold the Gnosis. Yes, but she would not allow herself to lose out in any such exchange. Such then was the tactic agreement between the two old friends. Yaimiko understood A's intent and took the precious Gnosis with a smile. Well, this is your idea, not mine. Don't end up regretting this now. Right? I only got like 3 characters on my account that you could argue are Archon level characters, which is 2 Archons and the Hydro Dragon Sovereign. But you get the point.
This built a budgeting app with base 44. Look.
Tomatoes in this video.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I think I'm gonna end this reaction here. I don't think I need to react to this the entire hour long, because this reaction already going on for 2 hours long, and I got other stuff I gotta do as well. But hopefully this video paints to you just how foolish Glaive Kyo conducted himself in his response to DJ King. and how he, in bad faith, engaged in his counterpoints by not even paying attention to anything, DJ King was even talking about. How long? This video was a day ago. But, like, this shit is fucking hilarious. Also, I left a fucking comment yesterday saying, I gotta finish Genshin backstory and hop on this as quick as possible. Which I did. I keep my promise. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Y'all tell me how y'all felt about this. When DJ King was streaming this, or, posted this video in the comment section below. And I'll see y'all in the next reaction. Make sure you like, sub, turn on the notification bell, join my YouTube community Discord, link is on my channel. Check out my Yapping Topics and Yapping Reaction playlist. I stream 5 gacha games, those being Genshin, Star Wars, Wu-Wa, Zenless, and Arnett Sinfield, along with a handful of non-gacha games, those being Gravity Rush 2, Ninja Gaiden 4, Stellar Blade, Face Hammer Remnant, and Tales of Berseria. So if you want to see me play those non-gacha games here on YouTube and YouTube only, subscribe to the channel. Anyway, that's all I got to say. This is KallaTheYapper signing out, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. This shit was fucking hilarious.